and are now charged with 9 serious offenses, including terrorism-related offenses, and are currently incarcerated, remanded into custody. This is the way that the investigative and national security system should work.
That's how the system should work? I can't believe that Dominic LeBlanc actually said that, but that was Canada's public safety minister at a committee the other day saying the system worked as it should. Warren Kinsella joining me, Brian Lilley, political columnist for the Toronto Sun. Warren Kinsella joining us from his campaign headquarters for Harris and Walls in Kennebunkport, Maine. Warren, you've known Dominic LeBlanc a long time. You used to sit at the desk next to him when you were both in PMO. He's not a dumb guy, but that was a really dumb statement that Ahmed El-Didi, the guy charged in the terror plot, the guy apparently the star of an ISIS torture and propaganda video, that him getting caught just moments before launching a supposed terrorist attack, that's how the system should work, not catching him on one of the 6 security screenings he went through to become a Canadian citizen this past May.
And I just want to pay tribute to the work that you have done along with our colleague, Brian Passafume. You guys, I think, really broke the story, the shocking story about the background of this guy, how he went from a refugee applicant to basically full citizenship without any degree of scrutiny at any point along the way. And it is alleged that he even was showing up in an ISIS video, hacking away at the limbs of somebody in the desert who was wearing an orange pantsuit. It just, not somebody, if true, that we should be considering for Canadian citizenship, but here he is. And then thank God, the RCMP Security Service and some other police agencies caught this individual and his son getting ready to carry out what was called a mass casualty event using axes and machetes. So it is
most likely in Toronto's Jewish community.
Most likely in Toronto has been the case, for the past 9 months. So it's fine work exposing this story that you and Brian Passafume have done. But now the question is, what is the government going to do about it? The police agencies, thankfully, were on the ball on this one. Another incident that took place in Ottawa, there have been some interdictions by police agencies of these ISIS lone wolf types who've been radicalized online mainly. But the Trudeau government really has to take responsibility for letting this problem to grow, because
it's the screening through our immigration system and our refugee system that gives me pause for concern. When El-Didi first applied to come to Canada, he wanted a visitor's visa in December 2017. And the office, I believe he was coming out of Egypt, he's an Egyptian national. They initially looked at it and said, we don't think you're a real visitor. We're saying no. What that means is they thought he was going to come here and try and stay. So that's December 2017. They gave him the right answer. You can't come. They gives them some more information in January 2018. They let him into the country, and then he declares refugee status. Along the way, I counted about half a dozen different points where he would have gone through security screening, and they didn't catch him. We currently are looking at bringing in 5,000 people from Gaza. Yes, there's a humanitarian crisis going on, but it's also an area controlled by terrorist groups. It is an area where people have pledged allegiance to Hamas. I'm not sure that our system is set up. I mean, they say biometrics. Well, that means they check your fingerprints against the database in Canada. Are you going to catch Hamas supporters or Hamas soldiers by doing that?
And, we have a tool that is actually quite historically useful in weeding out bad guys. It's called a passport, right? So if you get an applicant who has been hanging out in Yemen and Sudan and the former caliphate that ISIS wanted to establish, that's a bit of a red flag. People then should be doing what you and Passafume did, which is take a look at the background of this individual. But that is not happening in Canada. And if there isn't a stamp for Yemen on the passport, then say, well, we're indicating that there's a gap of 18 months in your history. Where were you during those 18 months? Those are the questions that we can ask. You don't need to have some super duper spy techniques or skills to find things out about these people. But here we are accepting thousands of Gazans coming here, and I am very skeptical about what kind of scrutiny is being applied by the Canadian government, because Gaza is run by Hamas and is supported by the Gazan people. Anybody who's been there like you and I knows that. And, you know, I don't know who we're bringing into this country.
I you look at what the Americans are talking about now, and I know it started out with Marco Rubio and Tom Cotton and Republican senators. It's not just Republicans, it's Democrats as well being concerned. Oh, what's going on the northern border? Do we have to be concerned? Who are they bringing into the country? That ends up thickening our border with the United States, most important trading partner, where so many of us, like you, are right now. It's where we go on vacation. It makes life more difficult, but it also does put us at risk. Are we, the only people that are going to get out are going to be people that Hamas lets out. Who are they going to want to let out? Their people, the people that support them. They're not going to be letting out dissidents.
And they're really good at it. You know, the reason why this war has gone on for 9 months, right, is because Hamas does embed itself within civilian populations. They are the army in the world that is better at doing that than any other army. Nobody's as good at them as doing that. Do people actually believe in the Trudeau government that Hamas is not, as you just said, embedding people, taking the jihad to nations like Canada? Like the head of Hezbollah said yesterday, if Israel defeats us, as I believe they will, we will just take jihad to the rest of the world. We will have lone wolf attacks everywhere. And here we are accepting people from Gaza that we know precious little about. It is crazy. It is a formula for disaster. And hopefully, you know, the Trudeau government gets replaced by a government that I believe is going to be more sensible about it, which is the Poilievre government.
Yeah, or right now they just keep going around talking, saying buzzwords like biometrics, and it reminds me of that scene in The Graduate. Oh, plastics, son, plastics. You've got biometrics. It just means fingerprints. We don't have anything fancy.
Yeah, no, we
All
don't
right,
need
Warren, stay safe down in Kennebunkport. We shall see you when you're back in Toronto soon, and all the best. Let us know what you think on this. Drop a comment down below. Share this on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.